These three things will destroy your manifestation. They will literally destroy or kill your momentum. Whatever you're creating, these three things, or these three perceptions or habits, if you'd like to call them, will stop you in your tracks. That's right. Why do we miscreate? We desire to create our life, right? But for some reason, we always miscreate, or we attract what we don't want. So what is it that's preventing us from creating? Why do we constantly miscreate? Why is it so easy to miscreate? Well, I'm going to provide the answers for you. I'm going to give you the top 3 miscreating destroyers. We're going to go from number 3 to number 1 that I believe is the stopper for your creation. If you're doing these 3 things, you must stop, because you're only going to miscreate. So once you are aware of these things, you can take charge and change course. So let's get into it. At number 3, the number 3 most miscreating manifestation is subconscious pattern. When we have a subconscious map of reality that doesn't match the conscious map of reality. In other words, 2 minds want 2 different things. It's not going to work. Your subconscious is normally programmed with lack. It has nothing to do with you. It's not your fault. It's happened when you were a child. Our society, the way things work, many of us have been designed to see our world in a lack and limitation. That affects your self-being, your self-confidence, and your self-worth. It makes you now believe that you don't deserve it, and you end up sabotaging yourself even if you don't want to. So that's why you will miscreate instead of creating what you want. One part of your mind is focused on creating what you want, but the other part of your mind is basically stabbing you in the back. And it's more powerful than the conscious mind because it drives your actions and habits. So that's the number 3. Here's the second one. Here's number 2, the most destructive, or the number 2 most manifesting destroyer habit or perception. Ready? Time. When it comes to creating, everything has a process. Everything takes what we would prefer, or what we refer to as time. Very simply, once you create something, in that waiting, or what we call that time, if you are anxious, or you're saying it's taking too long, or you're waiting and you're not seeing the progress, or you're not seeing the results, guess what? You're not going to create what you want, even though what you wanted was probably already created, because your awareness and your focus is on what's happening with time. It's taking too long, it's getting me nervous, it's getting me angry, it's making me anxious. That's what you're going to manifest. See that? Let me repeat that, because I really want you to get that. Time will stop you in your tracks, because once you create something, you have to let it go. It has a process. The process has to germinate, it has to grow, it has to expand, it has to create, and it has to pop into your reality. That's how the world works. That's how reality works in a human concept. So if you're looking at the time and thinking about it's not here, that's what you're going to create more. Frustration, you're going to miscreate, and you're not going to really focus to get your desires. You may eventually end up getting it, but it may take you an even longer time because you're always distracted and you're not focused at the goal at hand. So there it is. So number 2 is time. Now here's the number 1 thing that will stop you or kill your manifestation, or make you miscreate your reality. And this one is so subtle. The reason why this one is number 1, because it is so sneaky, and we do it every day and we don't even realize it. You ready for it? Here it is. Not making a decision on what you want. That doesn't seem powerful. What do you mean? Well, let me show you why it's powerful. Because when you create, or when you desire something, you may think you've made a decision, my friend, but you haven't made a decision. First of all, you have to know what a decision is. Let me show you what most people do. Most people, they have a fickle mind. They think they want it, then they end up changing their mind. Or they think that's what they want, or they feel that's what they want, but in reality, that's not really what the decision is. What they're doing is actually they are contemplating or figuring out if that's what they want or if that's what they can get. The difference is many people settle for what they think they can get. They don't really decide what they truly want. So that will always stop your manifestation. It will always make you miscreate. Why? Because not deciding is actually making a decision. If you don't decide, someone else will decide for you. The universe works this way. It's about deciding and focus. Once you make a decision on anything you want, that's when the creative process goes into action. It cannot go into action if you don't decide. So if you're on the fence, but you're visualizing, if you haven't decided, it's not going to happen. Okay, look, let me make it simple. Let me share what a deciding is. Let's say you're sitting down. You feel thirsty. What do? Hey, I decide I'm going to get some water. When you get up to go get your water, is there anything on your mind? No, you just know I'm going to get the water. That's a decision. So when you decide what you want, you have to have that same mentality. You shouldn't think like, hey, can I get the water? Is it possible for me to get the water? Will the water be there when I go get the water? See that? That's how you should look at your desires. Same way when you decide to drink water, you just get up and drink. There's no resistance. You just know you're going to get it. That's the same principle when it comes to creating what you want. You see, we have been conditioned to be limited and lack. So what the things we truly desire, we feel we aren't worthy enough for it. So we settle. That settlement is now a confusion between the conscious and the subconscious. It's a misalignment because your true self wants what you're capable of having. The false self or the ego wants what it thinks you can have. That creates the misalignment and that stops you from manifesting. So how do you fix it? Here's how you fix it. Just make a decision. Just say to yourself, hey, I decide this is what I want, and I'm not going to try to figure out how it's going to come. I just know I'm moving towards it, and I'm open for guidance. Boom. Now you're on your way to creating your life. There you have it. Those are the 3 manifesting destroyers, or the 3 things that can kill or stop your momentum from manifesting or creating your life any way you want it. So now you understand how the creation process works. Now you can take charge and change your life deliberately.